Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to talk about parallel and perpendicular lines really quickly, and then we'll do a problem with it. Now, the big thing with parallel lines is parallel lines don't touch each other, right? That's the definition of parallel lines. They never intersect, okay? And that is because they have the same slope, right? If two lines have different slopes, they will meet at some point. Even if it takes a long time, they will meet, right? And so these have the same slope, and you can see that they're parallel when they have the same slope. So the rule with parallel lines is same slope, right? Perpendicular lines have different slopes from each other, and not only are they different, but they this resource says if and only if the product of the slopes is -1. I find that a little confusing, so I think the way I'd like you to think about it is the slopes are opposite reciprocals of each other. They're opposite reciprocals. Okay? So if one is positive, the other one's going to be negative, and then you take the number and you flip it. So like in this case, right, we have y equals 3x plus 2. That's this one right here. And then if you take that and you flip it, so 3 over 1 becomes 1/3, and you go the opposite, it was positive, it becomes negative. You get an opposite reciprocal, and then when you plot it, it actually makes a line that is perpendicular, right? And so that's kind of why this works. And we're going to use those two ideas of same or opposite reciprocal, depending upon whether or not it's parallel or perpendicular, respectively. We're going to use that to help us solve a couple problems. So this first one, it says, write an equation in slope-intercept form for the line that passes through 5, -6 and is perpendicular, all right? So this is important, perpendicular to the line with this equation. So that means it crosses this line at a 90-degree angle, right? So that means that if my slope for this line is -3/2, and I know that because I know how y equals mx plus b works, right? That means that if it's perpendicular, we're going to flip this, right? So, and then make it the opposite. So if you flip 3/2, it becomes 2/3, and if it's negative, it now becomes positive. So my slope is going to become 2/3. And then I use this line and I write an equation. So we're going to go y minus y1 is equal to mx minus x1. Plug in your numbers. So there's my y1. So we're going to go y minus -6 is equal to m, which is 2/3. We figured out our slope, times x minus x1 is 5, right? And so these get a little ugly, so bear with me. So this becomes y plus 6, double negative, equals, and so now we're going to multiply this out, right? Because they want it in slope-intercept form. So if we get 2/3 x, distributive property, minus, well, 2 times 5 is 10, so minus 10, and then 3 times 1 would be 3, so minus 10/3. So what we have to do now is add 6 to both sides, right? And then we'll be done. So I'm going to subtract 6 from both sides, and I'm going to write -6. The only problem is -6 and -10/3 don't look like they're easy or very compatible. So what I want to do is I want to figure out what -6 is in terms of thirds, right? So it has a common denominator. So I go -6 is equal to blank thirds. So I'm going to write a 3. So to do this, just put it over 1 and ask yourself, what do I multiply the numerator by to get it to 3? Well, or the denominator, you multiply it by 3. So that means we multiply this top number by 3. So -6 times 3 is -18. So the number we're going to use is we are going to use this fraction. And so I am going to erase this 6 here, and we are going to put -18/3 because it's the same as this. It's just a different representation. So -10 and -18 make -28. My 6's cancel. So we have 2/3 x minus 28/3. And that is approximately, that's not approximately, that is exactly -9 1/3, right? But you can leave it as an improper fraction and nobody will yell at you. All right, let's do this last one. We're talking about parallel lines. So when we do this, we have to recognize that because it's parallel, right, that means that our slope is going to be the same. Excuse me. Because they never touch. So, so if the slope is 3/4 here, that means my slope for my line is also going to be 3/4, and it goes through this. So let's use y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1, where this is my x1, y1. So it'll be y minus 7 equals 3/4 times the quantity x minus 3. So now, no double negatives, so let's just start by multiplying and doing distributives. So you get y minus 7 equals 3/4 x minus, and this would be 9/4, because it's 3 over 1. 3 times 3 is 9. 4 times 1 is 4. Next, now, we are going to add 7. But instead of writing 7 over here, I want to figure out what 7 is in fourths. So I'm going to go 7 over 1 is equal to however many fourths it is. Well, multiply by 4 to get that. So 7 times 4 is 28. So we are going to add 28 fourths. And so now, because it's a fraction, you keep your denominator the same, and we do 28 minus 9. Well, 28 minus 9 is 19. So my finished answer is y equals 3/4 x plus 19/4. So it's 3/4 x, so it goes up 3 over 4, and the y-intercept is almost 5, right? Because it's 4 and 3/4. So that's how these work. I hope this has been helpful to you, and I wish you nothing but luck on this. All right. So thank you for watching.